Welcome to Anointed's journey, chosen one, and hear this clearly. God Himself is about to reveal why your spirit terrifies darkness. From the moment you were called, the enemy has tried to diminish your light, to quiet your voice, to suppress the power that God placed within you. But what he didn't realize is that every attempt only sharpened your authority. You see, darkness has an instinct. It senses what is holy, what is anointed, and what is chosen, and it trembles at the presence of someone walking fully in God's purpose. That trembling is not random, chosen one. It is a recognition of power that is far beyond what the natural eye can perceive. Your spirit carries a weight, a divine authority that was forged in the fires of struggle, in the silence of unanswered prayers, and in the isolation of moments where no one could see your pain. That very spirit, the one that God refined in secret, is the thing that terrifies darkness, because it cannot be manipulated, deceived, or controlled. Every act of faith, every tear shed in prayer, every word spoken in alignment with God has built an invisible force around you, a shield that the enemy cannot penetrate. Even your presence alone, whether you speak or remain silent, shifts atmospheres, rearranges spiritual territories, and exposes hidden schemes. This is why chosen ones often feel out of place in the natural realm. The enemy fears your potential before it fully manifests, and the natural world can feel the intensity of what the spiritual realm already knows. Your trials, your betrayals, your setbacks, they were never random, and they were never meant to break you. They were meant to awaken in you a recognition of the authority you carry and to teach you how to wield it with wisdom. Darkness cannot stand before someone who operates in both discernment and humility, and God has trained you to be that person. You've learned to navigate life with spiritual awareness, understanding motives instead of just actions, seeing the unseen currents that others are blind to, and this is precisely what terrifies darkness. It is not your anger, it is not your talent, it is not your intellect. It is the spirit within you, the God-given authority that has been quietly maturing. While others underestimated you, the enemy may try to mimic strength, may try to intimidate, may try to manipulate circumstances, but the power that resides in you is supernatural, eternal, and unstoppable. You do not need to fight like the world fights. Your battles are won in the spiritual realm first, and your victories manifest in the natural without you having to strain yourself. The way God has positioned your spirit is strategic. Your insight, your discernment, your ability to sense deception before it manifests, these are all part of the divine design that makes your existence a threat to darkness. And yet, your power is not for pride or domination. It is for alignment with God's will, for the advancement of His kingdom, and for the protection of His chosen. Every moment of preparation, every season of silence, every hardship endured, was an intentional act of God, shaping you into a warrior whose spirit cannot be touched, manipulated, or subdued. Darkness knows this, and that is why it recoils at your very presence. Even when you think you are unnoticed, the spiritual realm is alert, observing, and aware of the authority that surrounds you. People may dismiss you, mislabel you, or ignore you, but your spirit is a living testimony of God's power, a constant disruption to anything that opposes His will. And here is the secret that few understand. Your power does not need validation from others because it has been sanctioned by heaven itself. It does not need applause, recognition, or acknowledgement because its source is eternal, unshakable, and divine. Every step you take, every decision you make, carries the weight of this authority. Even in moments of uncertainty, the spirit inside you acts as a compass, guiding, protecting, and instructing. Darkness fears this because it cannot predict or control someone who is connected to the divine source of all power. You have been trained in ways that the natural world cannot perceive. Your sensitivity to spiritual atmospheres, your discernment of intentions, your ability to see beyond the surface. These are the invisible weapons that terrify those who oppose God's plans. And while the enemy focuses on distraction, deception, and delay, God is orchestrating alignment, positioning, and breakthroughs that the world cannot comprehend. This is why your life has been a series of orchestrated tests, each one refining your spirit, each one revealing a level of authority that the enemy cannot overcome. Darkness trembles not because you have tried to prove your power, but because you have consistently aligned yourself with God's will, and alignment with God is the most terrifying force to any form of opposition. Your prayers, even in whispered solitude, are felt in realms unseen. Your obedience, even in unnoticed acts, builds momentum that cannot be reversed. That is why chosen ones carry a quiet intimidation. It is not loud, it is not boastful, it is simply presence, a presence forged by heaven that disrupts evil, exposes lies, and holds authority over spiritual forces that seek to hinder destiny. Understand this: the fear that darkness experiences when it encounters your spirit is a reflection of the authority of God Himself living inside of you. It recoils, it falters, it hesitates, because it knows it cannot stand before the chosen, the anointed, the one whose life is under the direct supervision of the Almighty. You are not ordinary, and you were never meant to be. Your spirit carries a prophetic weight, a supernatural discernment, and a fearless boldness that the enemy cannot withstand. And as God continues to reveal your identity, as He continues to unlock the power within you, your presence will grow in intensity, your authority will expand, and the darkness that once tried to intimidate you will now be exposed by your light. This is your confirmation. Chosen one, your spirit is terrifying to darkness because it is God's spirit. It is righteous, it is unstoppable, and it is alive. Every act of faith, every moment of obedience, every trial endured has contributed to the power you now carry, and this is only the beginning. Chosen one, as you continue to walk in the revelation of who you are, understand that your power is not just a concept. It is a living force that shapes realities, shifts atmospheres, and dismantles every scheme that darkness attempts to set before you. The enemy has spent countless seasons trying to predict your moves, to manipulate your environment, to sow confusion and fear, but what he never accounted for is that your spirit is anchored in heaven, and any attempt to harm you only activates God's protective and empowering presence around you. You are not naive to the tactics of the enemy. You are spiritually aware, and your discernment allows you to see beyond the obvious, to detect deception before it manifests, and to act with wisdom that seems supernatural to those around you. This is why your journey has always been different, why the road has often seemed lonely, and why the victories that were promised often appeared delayed. Every setback, every betrayal, every season of silence was a carefully orchestrated lesson designed to sharpen your spiritual senses, to attune your soul to the rhythm of heaven, and to build in you a resilience that cannot be broken. Your power terrifies darkness because it is not reliant on human validation or worldly knowledge. It is sourced in the omnipotent authority of God Himself, and it moves in ways that the natural eye cannot detect. You carry a prophetic influence that will cause systems to shift, hearts to awaken, and destinies to align according to God's perfect will. The enemy recoils when your voice rises in prayer, when your faith is exercised, and when your obedience aligns with divine instruction, because he recognizes that your spirit is not to be negotiated with, controlled, or subdued. Every challenge that you have faced was never meant to define you, but to refine you, to reveal the depth of the power within you and to prepare you to step into a level of spiritual authority that few will ever comprehend. Your ability to remain calm in chaos, to speak truth in the face of lies, to discern motives where others are blind, and to navigate life with supernatural insight are all aspects of the weaponized spirit that God has placed within you. This is why darkness fears you. It cannot predict your steps. It cannot infiltrate your mind. It cannot manipulate your decisions. And it cannot resist the authority that flows from your intimacy with God. You have been equipped not merely to survive, but to dominate in the spiritual realm, to enforce heaven's will on earth, and to walk unhindered through territories that were once controlled by opposition. Every season of prayer, fasting, study, and obedience has been a layer of armor, a sharpening of your sword, a fortification of your soul. The enemy's strategies are now ineffective against you because your spirit has been activated, your discernment heightened, and your connection to God intensified. And while others may misinterpret your quietness or your patience as weakness, it is actually the very evidence of a power that is being exercised with precision. Your silence is strategic, your presence is commanding, and your faith is unstoppable. Darkness recognizes this authority even before you take action. It senses your anointing and retreats in anticipation of the impact your life is about to have. Chosen one, understand that your spiritual energy is contagious. Your confidence in God, your boldness in prayer, and your unwavering faith create a ripple effect that disrupts negative forces, not just in your life, but in the lives of those around you. This is why you have been called to lead, to influence, and to shine as a beacon of divine authority. The very things that others feared or dismissed are the same things that equip you to operate at a level that darkness cannot challenge. Every insult, every misunderstanding, every attempt to suppress your voice has been a setup for God to demonstrate your power and to reveal the impact of a life fully surrendered to Him. Your trials were never punishments, they were preparations. And now, as you step into this next season, your spirit will operate with a clarity, precision, and boldness that forces deception to flee, falsehood to crumble, and darkness to tremble. People will notice the change even if they do not understand the source. Your presence will carry authority, your words will carry weight, and your decisions will carry the wisdom of heaven. Chosen one, the enemy has underestimated you. The world has dismissed you, and even sometimes you may have doubted yourself, but God has never doubted you. He has equipped you, strengthened you, and positioned you in a place where your light cannot be hidden. The trembling you sense in the spiritual realm is real. It is the enemy recoiling from the one whose spirit has been forged in the fires of divine purpose. And as you continue to walk in obedience, continue to rise above fear, continue to trust in God's timing, you will see the manifestation of power in your life that will leave no question about who carries authority. Your life will become a testament, a prophetic declaration, and a warning to every force that seeks to oppose the will of God. The darkness fears not just what you do, but who you are. It fears the unshakable connection you have with God, the discernment you now carry, and the supernatural influence that radiates from your spirit. This is why your victories are inevitable, why your breakthrough is unstoppable, and why your destiny is assured. Every attempt to intimidate, deceive, or suppress you only reveals the power you carry. And as God continues to unveil your authority, your life will increasingly become a disruption to every system of opposition, a light that exposes hidden agendas, and a voice that brings clarity where there was confusion. You are walking in a spiritual dimension that few understand, yet it is real, it is active, and it is shifting everything in your favor. Darkness cannot navigate you, it cannot control you, and it cannot prevail against the one whose spirit has been infused with God's authority. And the beautiful truth, chosen one, is that this is only the beginning. Your power is just being revealed, your authority just being activated, and your impact is only starting to unfold. Every challenge you face now will only strengthen your influence. Every opposition will only highlight your authority, and every act of faith will multiply your power. The enemy trembles because it knows that you are not playing games, that you are not relying on worldly strength, and that you are walking fully in the Spirit, fully in obedience, and fully in alignment with God's will. Chosen one, as you continue to rise into your God-given authority, understand that what you are experiencing is not coincidence, and it is not by chance that your life has been marked by both challenge and revelation. Every obstacle you faced, every season of waiting, and every moment of perceived delay was a strategic positioning from heaven to prepare your spirit for the impact you were destined to make. Darkness has always recognized the power within you, even before you fully understood it yourself, and that is why it has tried relentlessly to intimidate, manipulate, and distract you. But every scheme that was designed to weaken you only served to awaken a greater level of discernment, a heightened sensitivity to spiritual realities, and a sharper perception of truth that others could never attain. The enemy trembles not because you have proven yourself yet, but because the potential within you, once fully activated, is unstoppable. Your spirit is a living weapon, a beacon of divine authority, and a force of righteousness that cannot be negotiated with or subdued. Those who have sought to underestimate you, ridicule you, or mislabel you as weak have only set the stage for a monumental revelation. You are far stronger, wiser, and more dangerous to darkness than anyone has ever imagined. Your insight into human nature, your ability to detect deception, and your clarity of thought are all reflections of the intimate relationship you have with God. And as your spiritual awareness grows, your ability to operate with precision, patience, and strategy increases exponentially. Darkness fears not just your presence, but the alignment you have with heaven, the power that flows through obedience, and the influence you are about to release in ways that cannot be contained. This is why the enemy has tried to isolate you, to discourage you, and to convince you that your impact is minimal, because it knows the truth. The chosen one is a force it cannot overcome. And this is where your awareness must expand. The trials you endured were never punishments. They were initiations into a level of authority that cannot be replicated, taught, or purchased. Your victories are not defined by human metrics. They are measured by alignment with God's will, by faithfulness in the unseen, and by the supernatural activation of the Spirit within you. Every act of obedience, every moment of perseverance, and every choice to walk in integrity has been a layer of preparation that now positions you as a disruptor of darkness, a revealer of truth, and a vessel of divine influence. You are not just surviving. You are being molded to dominate spiritually, to enforce heaven's principles on earth, and to carry a presence that the enemy cannot ignore. The trembling that accompanies your journey is real. It is the recognition of power that operates outside the confines of the natural realm. People may not understand your authority. They may misinterpret your calm, and they may underestimate the quiet strength within you, but these are all part of God's design to conceal your full potential until the moment of revelation. And that revelation is coming. Your prayers, your fasting, your study of the Word, and your consistent alignment with God's purposes have been building a spiritual momentum that is now unstoppable. You are walking in a season where the fruit of your endurance, the lessons from your hardships, and the depth of your spiritual insight will converge to create breakthroughs, shifts, and victories that others only dream of. The enemy fears the activation of your full potential because it knows that what has been hidden in secrecy will now manifest publicly, and when it does, it will dismantle every lie, every manipulation, and every scheme that was ever set against you. Your presence alone will command respect, your words will carry authority, and your decisions will reflect the wisdom of heaven. And as you continue to embrace your identity as a chosen one, understand that the fear darkness experiences is a reflection of your spiritual alignment, your obedience, and the anointing that resides within you. You are not called to prove your power to anyone. Your life itself is proof. Every act of kindness, every act of courage, and every choice to walk in faith demonstrates a spiritual authority that cannot be questioned. The enemy recoils because it recognizes that the one walking in this level of divine empowerment is untouchable, unstoppable, and unshakable. You are not operating in your own strength. You are operating in the strength of God, and that is why every plan designed to intimidate or distract you fails. You are a disruptor, a trailblazer, and a beacon of divine influence, and your life is a living testimony of what it means to carry the authority of heaven in the midst of earthly challenges. The enemy cannot predict your steps because your strategy is informed by wisdom that flows from God. Your discernment is sharpened by trials, and your spirit is fortified by the presence of the Holy One. This is why your journey has always been different, why your victories have often seemed delayed, and why your power has remained underestimated. The fear that darkness experiences is real, and it is the acknowledgement of a spirit that will not be coerced, controlled, or manipulated. Your influence is multiplying, your discernment is expanding, and your authority is increasing daily. And the moment you fully step into the manifestation of what God has prepared for you, the enemy will be exposed, lies will crumble, deception will be unmasked, and the power of a life fully aligned with heaven will be undeniable. Chosen one, your spiritual authority is not a joke, it is not theoretical, and it is not temporary. It is eternal, unstoppable, and divinely ordained. And as you embrace this reality, as you walk boldly in your identity, as you release the influence that has been built in secrecy, the darkness will continue to recoil, not because you fight it, but because your spirit carries the unmistakable power of God, and that power terrifies every force that opposes righteousness. Chosen one, now is the time to fully awaken to the magnitude of the Spirit that resides within you, to embrace the power that has been cultivated in silence, and to step boldly into the authority that God has prepared for your life. Everything you have endured, every season of waiting, every betrayal, every moment when the world seemed indifferent or even hostile, was a training ground designed to prepare you for the extraordinary influence you are now equipped to wield. Darkness fears you not for what you have done, but for who you are, anointed, chosen, and indestructibly connected to the will of God. Your spirit carries a supernatural discernment that exposes deception, a prophetic insight that reveals hidden agendas, and a divine authority that enforces God's purposes on earth. The very presence of your spirit disrupts lies, unmasks falsehood, and causes opposition to retreat in confusion and fear. You are a walking demonstration of God's power, and the enemy trembles because it knows it cannot manipulate, control, or deceive a life that is fully surrendered to heaven's design. This is why your prayers, your acts of obedience, and your devotion have always mattered, even when no one witnessed them. The spiritual realm has always been attuned to your faithfulness, and every sacrifice, every tear, and every whispered plea has been a building block of your authority. People may misunderstand your quiet confidence, they may misinterpret your patience, and they may underestimate your subtle influence, but these misperceptions are actually part of God's strategy to conceal the full extent of your power until the time of revelation. Every step you take, every decision you make, carries a weight of spiritual significance that the enemy can sense but cannot counteract. And as you continue to align your life with God's will, you will notice a shift, a tangible recognition in the spiritual realm that manifests as favor, protection, and supernatural breakthroughs in the natural world. The darkness recoils because it recognizes the source of your strength, the unshakable foundation of your faith, and the unwavering alignment of your spirit with God's purpose. Chosen one, you have been walking through seasons designed to awaken your sensitivity to spiritual realities, to sharpen your discernment, and to cultivate a boldness that is unmatched. The fear that opposition experiences is real, and it is a reflection of the divine power that has always been flowing through you. You are not just surviving, you are thriving, disrupting every system of deception, breaking strongholds, and standing as a testimony to the transformative power of a life fully surrendered to God. And as you step into this next season, understand that your influence will expand in ways that are both visible and invisible. Your presence will command respect, your words will carry authority, and your decisions will reflect the wisdom of heaven. The enemy will continue to tremble because it cannot predict your moves, it cannot understand the depth of your discernment, and it cannot overcome the authority that resides within a chosen one who walks in alignment with God. Your trials have been refining you, your struggles have been strengthening you, and your obedience has been activating a level of power that cannot be replicated or diminished. Every setback you thought was a failure was actually a preparation. Every delay was a divine positioning, and every challenge was an opportunity to awaken the authority within you. You are now entering a season where the spiritual investments of your past will manifest as unstoppable influence, unprecedented breakthroughs, and undeniable testimony of God's power. Your enemies, both seen and unseen, will recognize that you are not to be mocked, manipulated, or underestimated because your spirit is anchored in eternal authority. You will walk boldly into rooms, situations, and opportunities, and the atmosphere will shift before you speak. Simply because your presence is anointed, your authority is undeniable, and your spirit carries the weight of God Himself. The fear that darkness experiences is real, but it is also proof that you are walking in the supernatural, in alignment with divine destiny, and operating in the fullness of your calling. Chosen one, your life is a demonstration of power, your actions are a revelation of authority, and your faith is an unstoppable force that terrifies darkness and inspires the heavens. Every word you speak, every step you take, every decision you make is now infused with the weight of your spiritual influence. And as God continues to guide you, continue to reveal His purposes, and continue to unlock the fullness of your identity, you will witness the culmination of a journey designed to show that your spirit is not a joke. Your power is real, and the darkness that once opposed you will now be exposed, defeated, and rendered powerless before the authority that flows through your life. The moment has arrived, chosen one, to embrace your identity, walk in boldness, and release the influence that God has meticulously prepared for you. This is your season of unstoppable power, unshakable authority, and undeniable destiny. Darkness may tremble, but you will rise, prevail, and reign in the fullness of all that God has called you to be. The world, the spiritual realm, and even those who have opposed you will recognize that the one they underestimated is now fully awakened, fully aligned, and fully equipped to operate in a level of spiritual authority that cannot be contested, challenged, or diminished. Step forward boldly, chosen one, for the enemy has been exposed, your power has been revealed, and your destiny is unstoppable.